April 1976. South African Prime Minister B.J. Vorster is visiting the State of Israel. He pays a visit to Yad Vashem, Jerusalem's Holocaust Memorial. His Israeli hosts give him a warm welcome, which is all the more interesting given that Vorster was a Nazi sympathizer during World War II. Why was Vorster in the country to begin with? Well, Israel and apartheid South Africa enjoyed warm relations with each other throughout the Cold War. Other countries, such as Taiwan and South Korea, both under military dictatorships at the time, were close to Jerusalem too. Despite the socialist leanings of Israel's founders, she was now part of a network of right-wing anti-communist pariah states in the American orbit. Today, we're going to talk about the special relationship between Jerusalem and Pretoria. South Africa voted in favor of UN Resolution 181, also known as the 1947 Partition Plan for Palestine. In 1948, the same year Israel declared itself a nation, South Africa instituted the policy of racial segregation commonly referred to as apartheid or apartness in Afrikaans. South Africa recognized Israel de facto on May 24, 1948. De jure recognition came on May 14, 1949, exactly 1 year after Israel declared herself a nation. General Jan C. Smuts, South Africa's second prime minister and former military leader during the Boer War, has several streets in Israel as well as a kibbutz named in his honor. In September 1953, Prime Minister Daniel F. Malan became the first foreign prime minister to visit Israel. Israeli Foreign Minister Moshe Sharet was the first Israeli leader to visit South Africa, having made the visit in 1950. In 1949, Israel established a consulate general in Pretoria. A South African consulate in Tel Aviv was not established until 1961. Israel at first pursued a policy of courting Black Africa and criticized the apartheid regime. As time went on though, Israel and South Africa would strengthen their ties. In June 1974, Israel opened an embassy in Pretoria and a South African embassy in Tel Aviv would open in November 1975. Top-ranking Israeli government officials such as Defense Minister Shimon Peres made secret visits to South Africa. In September 1973, Cornelius P. Mulder, South Africa's interior minister, visited Israel secretly in order to study Israeli counterinsurgency tactics. As the details of the South Africa-Israel partnership became public, South African Prime Minister B.J. Vorster stated that the topics of his talks in Jerusalem included ways to expand trade, encourage investments, the setting up of joint scientific and cultural ventures, and loans for the joint utilization of South African raw materials. In June 1976, U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, Israeli Foreign Minister Yigal Allon, and South African Prime Minister John Vorster met in Germany to discuss the situation in the southern portion of Africa following South Africa's retreat in Angola. In September 1977, South African Foreign Minister R.F. Botha met secretly with his Israeli peer Moshe Dayan and Prime Minister Menachem Begin. In August 1963, the UN Security Council voted on a resolution to block arms sales and shipments to South Africa. In November 1977, a subsequent resolution made the arms embargo mandatory. Israel, however, ignored the embargo. The iconic Israeli Uzi submachine gun was produced under license in South Africa. In neighboring Rhodesia, there was a locally made variant of the Uzi known as the Ruzi. The Galil rifle was also produced under license in South Africa and was known in the SADF as the R4 rifle. In 1967, South Africa supplied Israel with spare aircraft parts since their French supplier had halted arms shipments to Jerusalem. Due to its status as an international pariah, South Africa developed an indigenous arms industry. South Africa's Armaments Corporation, or Arms Corps, was set up with Israeli expertise. ISCOR, or the South African Iron and Steel Corporation, contributed to the building of Israel's Merkava battle tank. A special chemical mix produced in South Africa is used in the production of the tank's reinforced steel. Another component of Israel and South Africa's military cooperation was training. Hundreds of South African servicemen graduated from IDF schools, and it is estimated that hundreds of Israeli military advisors served in South Africa too. The warm relationship between South Africa and Israel extended to nuclear cooperation as well. Israel activated its first nuclear plant with French assistance in 1963. Apartheid-era South Africa, like Israel, pursued a policy of calculated ambiguity, neither confirming nor denying the existence of its nuclear program. In August of 1977, the Soviet Union reported that South Africa was preparing to test a nuclear weapon in the Kalahari Desert and demanded American intervention to stop the test. The US successfully pressurized South Africa out of the nuclear test. On September 22, 1979, a spy satellite recorded a sharp flash of light off the coast of South Africa. Shortly after this flash, an Israeli delegation headed by the Defense Minister Edgar paid a visit to South Africa. Experts interpreted the flash as a nuclear weapons test, but cannot determine who conducted the test. In 1980, American news media and government agencies such as the DIA confirmed that the September 1979 flash was indeed a joint Israeli-South African nuclear test. In December of 1980, there was another flash in the same area as the 1979 flash. During the apartheid years, Israel and South Africa cultivated strong economic ties. Israel invested heavily in the Bantustans of South Africa, nominally independent states reserved for black Africans beyond which blacks did not enjoy citizenship rights. In the Bantustan of Ciskei, for example, 10 Israeli-owned factories had either been built or were being built by 1985 when relations between Israel and Ciskei were severed. Israeli companies also built hospitals in Ciskei and provided agricultural and developmental aid. Top Ciskei officials, including leader Lennox Sebe, made official visits to Israel. In the Bantustan of Bophuthatswana, Israeli security contractors serve as guards in the Sun City resort area. Bophuthatswana even maintained an unofficial embassy in Tel Aviv. Officially, Israel did not recognize the quote-unquote independence of the Bantustans, but the Israeli National Telephone Company labeled them as such in their international phone directory. Bophuthatswana's leader, Lucas Mangope, visited Israel in 1981 also. Large amounts of investment money into the Bantustans has also come from Taiwan. As the official narratives of both Israel's and apartheid South Africa's origin stories paint these countries as fortresses besieged, Jerusalem and Pretoria found common cause with each other. However, this relationship is not as cordial today as it was during the Cold War. In contrast to the South African apartheid state, Israel and her relationship with the US have endured to the present. What do you guys think? Was the relationship between South Africa and Israel justified on security grounds? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.